Welcome to BookWorthy, Jean.
Hey, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much for the invitation.
I am so happy to have you. Well, to start us off, Jean, since your main character is a kangaroo, have you ever had a pet kangaroo or petted, I don't know, scratch the ears of a kangaroo? Catch the kangaroo. I don't know.
I have not. I sure love them. I like watching videos about them or like National Geographics, but I've never actually ever touched a kangaroo.
Well, what made you choose a kangaroo as your main character?
So I became a grandmother. And because I became a grandmother, my granddaughter has red hair. And so she was the whole inspiration. Yes, she was the inspiration for the whole kangaroo. So she's the namesake. She is the whole inspiration behind it. So Rennie Roo the kangaroo was inspired by my granddaughter.
So fun. I bet she just eats that up and loves every minute of it, doesn't she?
Just yet. She's only 2, so she doesn't quite get it just yet, but I think she will. She does enjoy all of the little reading times. She loves that.
Too fun. Well, Jean, do you have any pets?
I do. Actually, I have a cat that'll be roaming around, I'm sure, before too long. And I have a dog. So I have a Shih Tzu dog and I have a Nebulon cat.
Fun. Have you had any exotic pets in your lifetime?
I have. So growing up in the Yucatan jungle, my dad was really big into animals and wanted us to have a whole experience with animals. And so sure enough, we did. He made sure that we had, in the village, a mother jaguar had passed. And so she had left behind 2 little jaguars, and the villagers didn't know what to do with the babies. And so my dad said, well, we'll take them and we'll raise them. And so we got to raise baby jaguars. We had pumas and ocelots. We had some cootamundis. We had some toucans, owls, coyotes, horses. We've had just all of them.
I would say the answer to that exotic question is yes. That is a whole host of fun experiences, yes. No doubt.
Yes.
So fun.
We passed pictures of all of the animals and stuff that we had growing up. I also had an anteater, and we'll, occasionally shoot those to each other just to have a memory, walk down memory lane. Because, as I get older, when I was a kid, I really didn't understand that not everybody had those experiences. And as I've gotten, as I got older, I began realizing, oh, wow, this really was something special.
Definitely an anteater. Was it one of the giant ones or a smaller one?
It was a smaller one.
Or do you remember?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a smaller one.
I can't imagine seeing this giant.
It would hang on my shoulders, and it was really sweet. Just a really sweet. Yeah.
What an interesting childhood. Now, you were a missionary down in the Yucatan, right?
Yes. Yeah, we were there.
Tell us a little bit how that... Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say we were there until I turned 12, and then we moved back into the United States.
Very fun. Now, how did your experiences down there in the jungle and obviously with all those exotic pets influence your children's books?
Quite a bit. I would say that is the main focal point that kind of brought me to want to bring these books to life. When my granddaughter was born, it reminded me of how I was raised and how different that is to how she's going to be raised. She's going to be raised on a farm, but I was raised in the jungle. And when I was little, I couldn't communicate because I only spoke English, and in in Mexico, they speak Spanish. And then in the villages, they speak Mayan Indian. And so there was a huge language barrier. And so that's why in my books, I make them, or I try at least to make them educational for children so that they can be more articulate whenever they are trying to learn new creatures, new animals, new locations, new things. Because I know when I was a kid, it was such a huge thing to learn Spanish. And I ended up learning Mayan and Spanish, and I spoke all three languages until I was about maybe 10 or 11. And then the Mayan kind of faded out because it is a more complex language. And so now I don't even remember hardly any of it, just a few phrases, maybe a couple of words here and there. But that is how the books kind of came about, was because I started thinking about, my granddaughter and the differences between mine and her life experiences. And I thought, man, I want to share the whole, United States plus some different locations with children to bring them some information that they may find fun and entertaining and educational all at the same time.
I think you've done an amazing job with these books of just really engaging with the reader. Rennie Rue breaks that fourth wall and talks to the reader a little bit, and you can really see your heart behind it, because there is just this engaging, curiosity, having fun, very kid-like, welcoming environment that your books create. Now, in the 4 books you visit Dinosaur Valley, Kansas, Arkansas, and the Yucatan. Now, I'm slightly partial to Dinosaur Valley because that's not just 2 hours away from me, and we have spent many days camping there. So why did you start with Dinosaur Valley State Park?
I did start with Dinosaur Valley State Park, number one, because I am originally from Texas. So I was born in Texas. I am a Texas girl through and through. And of course, my granddaughter lives in Texas. And so I had to start with a Texas book.
A good choice, I might add. I'm slightly partial. Well, then you kind of have a dinosaur theme through multiple books, correct? So
yes.
What is so interesting about dinosaurs for you?
When I was maybe in middle school is when I really got the whole archaeological bug and thought, ooh, when I grow up, this is what I want to do. I want to be an archaeologist. This is, something that really interests me. And, as I became an adult and got married and had kids, all of that kind of went to the background, but I never forgot that whole just excitement and love for dinosaurs. I mean, I just find them so interesting. And what I find most amazing about dinosaurs is that they really cannot pinpoint the time. They'll say, oh, they were this far away or this far away, or it's been this, but then you'll find another scientist that says something totally different. And so to me, the whole fact that they were here is amazing. I just think that it's amazing. I think that God is just phenomenal in the fact that we had dinosaurs. There were dinosaurs that walked the earth. How amazing is that? I mean, a God that can create something so spectacular. I mean, we've got Steven Spielberg getting, awards for this stuff, and we're not giving God enough credit. I mean, these creatures were fantastic. They were so big and they did some really amazing things. And so anyway, so for me, of course, my books had to include dinosaurs.
So I do love that mystery of dinosaurs. And I think that's why kids fall in love with them, is there's so much information, but so much lack of information about dinosaurs too.
Yes.
Because sure, we have all these footprints like in Dinosaur Valley State Park, and we have these fossils, but like you said, no one really knows where they fall in the timeline.
Yes.
Or where they went.
Yes, exactly. It's just, it's one of those things, is just a mystery. And you just think,
yes.
Or I think, when I get to heaven, that's going to be one of my number one questions. Lord, please to me. So yeah.
I need the video on dinosaurs, please.
Yes. Yes.
Too fun. Kind of a random question. What's your favorite dinosaur?
So my favorite dinosaur is going to be the T-Rex. I like it. I just do. It's big. It's got tiny little arms like I do. And I can relate to a T-Rex.
It's an interesting reason. But you can't go wrong with the king of dinosaurs, right?
Yes, yes, loved it. I mean, I like the Brontosaurus too. They ended up changing its name, but I still call it Brontosaurus because that's what it was called when I was a kid. But
Yep.
my favorite overall is just the T-Rex. I think that it's just, just a really, really cool dinosaur.
Very cool. And it's interesting how those names change and how Pluto is not a planet anymore. And science is always changing.
And that's one of the reasons why I find, again, the whole timeline of the dinosaurs. I know that they were a long time ago, but as far as the timeline goes, we really can't. I mean, because like you said, if Pluto is 1 year, it's a planet, and then the next year it's not, we're like, what is happening here? It can change and fluctuate. And that's the whole, interesting part about dinosaurs and science and all of it together. Yeah.
Very neat. Well, you have a really engaging interaction with Rennie and all these different places. Now, you introduce a new character in book 2. Can you tell us a little bit about Tater?
So in book 2, which is the Kansas Adventure book, this is Tater Tot. And Tater Tot is, of course, inspired from my second grandchild, who is Tater Tot. And so we made him into a little bird, and he is Rennie Rue's little sidekick. And together they go on adventures. And so that's how we kind of developed Tater Tot.
Too cute.
I don't know why I picked a parakeet. I just thought it was cute, and so I ran with it.
I'm sure it matched the personality of your grandkid too a little bit, and it's a really fun interaction. And you also introduce a lot of other elements about building friendships and manners into your books. Why did you want those things to be a part of the series?
How can I explain it? So again, when I was a kid and was in a situation where everyone that I was surrounded by spoke a different language and wasn't really able to communicate and explain, these things, I wanted to make sure that little kids had a book that would do those things or help show them how to do those things. And so I wanted my books to really focus on imagination. I wanted to, show the kids how to make friends and how to be polite because I think especially we get so wrapped up in everything else that's going on that we really forget what it's like to be a kid. And I remember what it was like to be a kid. I remember how hard it was to try and explain to people what I wanted or, what I was feeling or whatever else. And so I want these books to be a little spark of sunshine for kids that are maybe wouldn't have those or doesn't have a way to express themselves or maybe is floundering. I'm hoping and praying that these books are books that a little kid's mind can get a hold of and be like, ooh, I get to go on an adventure with Rennie Rue and Tater Tot. And so that's kind of where that all came from.
It's fun. I love that heart and desire for kids to feel heard and seen. And I think Rennie is so engaging and so childlike that it's really easy for kids to read through and be like, okay, let's go on an adventure.
Yes.
Fun. Okay, so we have Dinosaur Valley and then Kansas and Arkansas and the Yucatan. I can guess from our earlier conversation, the Yucatan is because of your experience growing up there. Yep. Why Kansas and Arkansas?
So Arkansas was, so I needed 4 books to start the series with. And so I just went with what I knew. So I'm originally from Texas. My husband's from Arkansas. We currently live in Kansas. And of course, I was raised in the Yucatan.
Very fun. So it's not only going to be educational for everyone else, but it's also very personal to you.
Yes.
So that makes it lots of fun. Now, are you planning any more books in this series?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I've got a couple more that'll be coming out this year. I'm actually working on them right now. The first one will be the Zona Maya, which of course will then
Okay.
really focus in on where I was raised. Even though the Yucatan is the general area, the specific area is the Zona Maya. And so then from there, I'll be doing Tennessee, Alabama, and so those will be coming out this year.
So fun. Is the goal to do all 50 states?
Yes, that is the
Oh
goal.
my goodness. That is a big goal.
Yes, it is. It is. When this all started, I just kind of gave it to God from the beginning. I just was praying about it and just said, Lord, I know that this is an idea from you, because this is not something that I would think up on my own. And so I really just was like, give it to you, and you just show me what doors I need to walk through. You just show me what I need to allow in and what I need to not allow in. And so when it came up that it was going to be about the states, I was like, okay, all right, Lord, make it happen. And so I'm just along for the ride. I'm just along for the ride, letting him kind of organize my steps. But yeah, I'm just doing according to where I feel a nudge, then I'm going to go that way. So yeah.
That's wonderful. I love how God is directing your steps and you're like, all right, take the wheel. Just do the things.
Yes.
It's in my own writing journey, it's been about, okay, I'm being obedient, Lord. You're in charge of everything else. And so just being obedient to the gifts given. Now, Jean, did you always want to be a writer?
No. So, funny thing, I have a really hard time writing anything. So that's how I know that these are truly inspired by something other than me, because I am not a writer at all. I do have to have an editor because I am a horrible speller, and this is just not something that I ever imagined myself doing. And so when it kind of come up that this is the direction that I was going to go in my later years, because I'm not no spring chicken anymore, that I kind of was like, all right, Lord, just make it happen, because I am not, I don't have like a degree in English or anything like that to be able to articulate it. So in the books and everything, it is really God inspired, because it's just not something that I would have ever seen myself doing. Just ever. It's just not something I would have seen myself doing.
Well, I love how God has directed your steps and pushed, kind of made you take this leap of faith in a sense of just, like, okay, God, you've put this in my heart. Let's see what you're going to do with it.
Sure.
So I love that you're being obedient to that. And your books are more for the general market than for the Christian market. But there seems to be just this sweetness to it, that this, I don't know, just overall, just welcoming, loving atmosphere that is created between Brittany and Rue and Tater. And so even though it doesn't have a spiritual aspect, there is definitely a welcoming and a love that is kind of part of that Christian lifestyle.
Oh,
that
absolutely.
is in there.
Absolutely. And that was the I guess one of the hardest decisions with releasing the book was, do I do it as a faith-based book? Do I do it as a general book? How do I want to go about this? So again, I just brought it to God and just began praying about it. And I felt an overwhelming peace where he was just like, these books are for everyone. We want everyone to be able to experience the lightness and the joy and the happiness and the learning that's done through the books. And so that kind of made the decision. I was like, all right, Lord, if this is what, you've directed, then that's the way we're going to do it. And so I just kind of went with it. And it's been a really good experience because I do want these books to be able to go out to a mass market of people, because I want to get these books in the hands of children so that they can experience the happiness and joy and lightness that's in these books. There's nothing heavy. It's all, it's all educational, but done in a fun way, teaching them new words. They are big words, but I do, have pronunciations in them so that they can learn these words. But that was just a huge thing that I wanted these books to be able to be available to anybody who wanted them and not just a specific group of people. Mm-hmm.
I love that your missionary heart is still working inside you as you want these books to continue to grow and to serve people. And again, I just love the childlike nature of these books. They are so welcoming and joyful and makes, I don't know, if I was a kid, I would be like, where's the next book? Where's the next book? So it's super fun. Now, Jean, what is your favorite book other than the Bible?
My favorite book is going to be, I read a book, and this has been a long time ago, like when it first came out. So I know that they've done different renditions of it. But when this book first came out, I believe it was in the 90s. It was The Power of a Praying Wife. And that book transformed my relationship, transformed me, transformed, I guess, just growing up and becoming an adult who was going to, take her family seriously and do what was needed for my family. That is the book I would say that totally transformed my life and got it going into a totally opposite direction, I think, had it not have been for that book. Now, if it's something that I'm just reading, it's going to be Sherlock Holmes.
Very neat. Now, is it specifically Arthur Conan Doyle's Sherlock Holmes or some of the fan fiction that started to come out?
No, just the
original.
The original. And I like them in the hardcovers, and I like them, the old books. I will go looking specifically into antique malls and stuff, trying to find the old books, because I like the way, I know it sounds crazy, but I like the way they smell. I like holding them. I like sitting by the window and reading. That is my go-to most favorite thing to do, is to have a good book and a blanket and my tea and just read.
So fun. Yeah, my mother-in-law likes to bring me old books that she's found in her collection, and I have an old Arthur Conan Doyle book and Oliver Twist and all that kind of things, and it's been fun to introduce those to my boys and for them to be like, this was really hard, Mom, to read. I'm like, it's hard to read, but it's so good. And so it's been fun to explore those books again.
I recently found a Pollyanna book from the 1920s. Yes. And so I've got that one sitting on my next to read.
Too fun. Now, are you a fan of Benedict Cumberbatch's Sherlock Holmes show?
Yes, I sure am. I thought that the
There's
BBC
so many versions.
Yeah,
it was amazing. I definitely enjoyed it.
Yeah, I did. Of all of the different
lots of fun.
They did a great job. Great. Even as far as like following along with the original books and stuff, I thought they did a great job. Yeah, it's one of my favorite series. I really enjoy it.
Too fun. Now, what can people expect next from you, Jean? We talked a little bit about this, but
yeah, I am going to continue with the Renuru series and just on her adventures. Like I said, we're going to do, of course, the 50 states. The next book coming out is going to be the Zona Maya, and it should be coming out hopefully by the end of January. We'll kind of see. Got my fingers crossed on that one. But then after that, I'm not sure if I'm going to release Tennessee or Alabama first. But anyway, as for right now, those are the ones that I've got in the works and working on them. They have to go to editing. And then, of course, I do have all of my books translated into Spanish. And so all of my books only are in English, but they are all available in Spanish.
That's amazing to have the books be bilingual, because there is such an increase of Spanish speakers in our country, and just to make it available, again, make it fun and engaging, and give kids that welcoming invitation to learn and explore and imagine. So I love that you've done that. Where can people find out more about you, Jean?
They can go to my website, which is www.rennieroo.com. They can also find my books, all of my books, Rennie Rue's Adventures, on Amazon, including coloring books. Or they can reach out to me. I am on Instagram and Facebook under Rennie Rue's Adventures.
So fun. We'll make sure all those links are in the show notes so people can find out more about you and find out more about Rennie Rue and Tater too.
Yay!
So fun. Well, thank you so much for being with us today, Jean.
Oh, thank you so much, Valerie, for having me. I appreciate it so much. It's been a blast getting to talk to you and getting to reach out to your audience. Just want to give a warm thank you to everyone. Thank you so much.
It is our pleasure for sure. And thank you for joining Jean and me on this episode of the BookWorthy podcast. Check the show notes for any books or links that we discussed, and let us know in the comments if you've ever pet a kangaroo or had an exotic pet. Be sure to like and subscribe so we can discover more great books together. Happy reading!